you very much, Yash, for allowing me and giving me the place to talk about Indonesian perspective. And it's really interesting. I have heard from Mr. Fahrul Alam, and I'm agree with him that Bangladesh opportunity is quite huge for Indonesia and Malaysia. Moreover, Bangladesh demography that mostly having one's demography of younger populations and the olders, and moreover about the GDP increase that is steady along the year. It's really a good opportunity for us as the main palm oil producing countries. However, in Indonesia's perspective, we still have some homeworks, especially in terms of sustainability. And for this occasion, I would like to present, I will share my slide first. Everyone can see it. Is it visible now?
Yes, we can see.
Okay, thank you. And I will make it as a slideshow. And this is the title of the presentation. I'm sorry, I am taking so long. Okay, yeah. So Indonesian oil palm sustainability and how to dismantling the crux of the matter. So I am Sachnaz Desta Oktarina. I'm a research associate in Indonesian Oil Palm Research Institute. I'm speaking here on behalf of my institution to discuss that matter. So the outline of this presentation will be as briefly as first introduce the milestone of Indonesian palm oil, and then some current statistics, and after that some problem and how is the strategy to troubleshoot that problem, and the last is the challenges and opportunities of Indonesian palm oil industries so far. And first of all, allow me to introduce the milestone of Indonesian palm oil. Maybe some of you not really know that palm oil has been so long been introduced in Indonesia. It is more than 2 decades ago. It's starting from 1848, that back on that day we are under Dutch colonials. So the Dutch colonials bring the oil seed and planted it as ornamental plant in Bogor Botanical Garden. At that time, we never know that it can be utilized into something that really useful for us until about 200 or 2 decades later in 1911. It first already has their own commercializations in Sumatra Island, more specifically in Sungai Liput and Pulau Raja and Deli Muda plantations. And then 5 years after that, my research institute established. It has an older name as APA, or Algemene Proefstation der Afros at the time. It's still written in Dutch language. And then just 5 years before our independence, we have total palm oil area increase up to more than 100,000 hectares at the time. And then in the 70s, we received donors, or we received help from World Bank to deploy the nucleus estate smallholder plantations. So it's kind of contract farming method that incorporate smallholder estate as the nucleus and the as the plasma, I mean, and the nucleus from the private or bigger estate. And after that program, in 2000, we have become the largest palm oil area in the world, and in total 4.2 million hectares at that time in 2000. And then 6 years later, we already surpassed Malaysia as the largest CPO producers. That is 17.3 million tons productions of CPO at that time. And then 2015, we also initialized the biodiesel program, and we also have CPO fund institutions to manage the CPO export levy, and then to distribute the money into smallholders activity, research and development, and for downstreaming industries. And in 2019, we have our total palm oil area in consolidations become 16 million hectares. And just last year, we already established B30 biodiesels that is become the highest biodiesel blending in the world, using 30% fatty acid methyl ester, and the rest is petrodiesel. And yeah, talking about Bangladesh, I just take a look from statistic from UN Comtrade that Bangladesh palm oil import or consumption is mainly from Malaysia and Indonesia, as already discussed by Mr. Tariq. Yes, that's true. And it's in total 1.3 million palm oil consumed by the Bangladeshi people. And if we see from this time series, at the beginning, the palm oil import dominated by the Indonesians, even up until now. But the trend is starting from 2018, it's seem decreasing. By contrast, the trend for the Malaysian palm oil import is increasing. So this is the interesting trend. So we can discuss it together. But maybe we can see through Indonesian statistics that we can see here Indonesia has grown up to 16 million hectares of oil palm land cover. And we can see from the map that it is mostly the concession is located in Sumatra Island and Borneo or Kalimantan Island. And in the highest production is achieved by the Rio province, and the second by the North Sumatra, which is where I am now. Our institute is located in North Sumatra. And then if we see through the typology of land holdings, we can see from this circle graph in the 90s, the composition is somewhat balanced between smallholders, government, and private. But later on, the government portion is keep decreasing even until now, and the private proportion is keep increasing, and so as for the smallholders. The 40% of land holding type owned by smallholder is our main priority here because of the problem of sustainability that I will discuss after this. But allow me to explain a little bit about the statistics of the trade balance. Here, usually Indonesia stock ending or beginning yearly range about 3,000 to 4,000, and productions coming from the CPO and the CPKO or crude palm kernel oil in total, it's up to 50,000 a million metric ton. And we have also local consumption derived from for food, oleochemical, and biodiesel, because we have higher mandatory biodiesel blending. And we also export our CPO, our refined, lauric, and biodiesel, and also oleochemical. And we can see here that our consumption plus export is exceed their total production, which means that the ending stock that remain is still 3 million metric tons. And we see here from the latest graph that our yield or productivity, it is shown by this yellow bar graph, that our productivity of oil palm on average, it can produce up to 3.7 ton of oil palm per hectares. And we can see that the the trend is somewhat fluctuated, and we can also discuss together why it is happening. It's also related with the sustainability issue. And what is the problem? The problem is the vicious cycle of the smallholders. The smallholders usually doesn't have access to good agricultural practice, and also they do not have capital or land titles or financial access to smoothen their input factors necessity. Even if they do, usually the land title is overlapping with someone else's land title, so it becomes a huge matter to be to be resolved in Indonesian case. And because of that problem, smallholders are more susceptible to land expansion because they also seek to other income generating activities. Why? Because usually they have low productivity, they don't have capital, and then they do difference, and they have low earnings, and it keeps perpetuating and become a vicious cycle. They also have longer value chain to sell the fresh fruit bunch to the designated mills. They also not oriented to downstream industry, and because they only sell FFB. And what can be done so far in the government side? The government has already enacted some regulations. The newest regulation is from Presidential Regulation number 44 in 2020. It's also well known as new ISPO regulations, because by 2025, the ISPO or Indonesian Sustainable Palm Oil certification will be mandatory for all holding types, including the smallholders. And especially in this time, Indonesian government has targeted at least 1 million farmers get certified by the ISPO by 2025. And moreover, Indonesian government also already imposed omnibus law and give solutions for the enclave smallholders estate to convert the enclave into the social forestry. Meanwhile, in terms of the stakeholder, the solution that we can offer is, of course, the intensifications. How we can do the intensification is by performing good agricultural practice. And some of the practice of that GAP is, first, of course, the smallholders should apply the legitimate varieties, because the fact is, according to the latest study conducted by our institute, collaborate with Wageningen University and Research, there are more than 50% smallholders that using illegitimate varieties, not using high or certified yielding varieties. And this is the big issues, and we have to tackle this problem. And moreover, other things that we can do is to increase nutrient use efficiency, or NUE, by apply more environmental friendly fertilizer. And also we can also alternate the marginal land use, which utilize the land that is not really good, not really having good characteristic of soils. And the farmers or smallholder also can motivated to do diversifications by having intercropping. If you see from the initial event, you see some flyers from the CPOPC, that CPOPC also promote intercropping in the palm oil, that the palm oil plant, that individual plants not only planted by themselves only, but we can also mix some crops to be planted in the same plot. So this is the principle of diversifications, and it will bring the income and generate income for the farmers. And in terms of bioagent, we can also use a bioagent like Tito alba or owl birds to prevent some pests in the smallholder plot, and also to avoid the fires. We also have a system so-called early warning detection system. And agroforestry principle is almost similar with diversification, but for agroforestry, the mixed crop is combining the palm oil with the forest crops. And the last one of the alternative with biomass utilization income. So when smallholders have replanted the plants still can be utilized. The biomass of the plant can be utilized into some goods like briquette or pellet or for planting media for mushroom and so on. And it's really useful for smallholders. And besides that, stakeholder also can do such a partnership. It's so-called pentahelix strategy. Penta means 5. So the pentahelix strategy is combined and to attach do partnership between the government, academic, media, community, and the business strategy. That's the solution that has been done by the Indonesian government so far. And talking about our SPO and ISPO, what's
Dr. Oktarina, just
yes?
Excuse me for a sec. Maybe
yes?
If you could wrap up in the next 2 or 3 minutes, that would be really great.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm sorry if it's taking way too long because I have a lot of things to talk, and it's really quite difficult to make it as concise. But okay, I will try my best. So this is the milestone for the RSPO and ISPO, and RSPO started from 2003, and then ISPO started in 2011 after that. And then, as I said before, that in 2019, Indonesian government has enacted regulations to make the ISPO mandatory for the smallholders. And we can see the performance now in 2021. In total, there are already 4.5 million hectares of oil palm in Indonesia certified by ISPO, and it's equivalent to 27% of total land holdings. And in total, there are 763 certificates, And the smallholder compositions that already certified, there are 14 cooperatives, 4 village unit cooperatives, 1 BUMDES or village enterprise, and 2 farmer groups. And this is, I promise this is the last slide. What is the challenge and opportunities in Indonesia's palm oil industry? First, I will talk about COVID pandemic. COVID-19 pandemic in Indonesia's palm oil industry is kind of blessing in disguise. I didn't say that pandemic is good, no, but in the Indonesian case, we experienced a good price of palm oil in this area in this time. During the pandemic, the material compound from palm oil usually used for sanitary product, and it's really good to increase the export volume. And as we can see that Indonesia also, even after the pandemic, in the recovery, many people has really relaxed their purchasing power, and a lot of people still consume. And we can see that price of CPO is still lucrative, as we can see now. And another challenge is energy crisis. And we can see also from other international markets that oil price increase, and many people convert from fossil fuel to more renewable source, and because palm oil provide that kind of renewable alternative. So especially because palm oil can be a feedstock for biofuel and biodiesel, so palm oil is really promising in meeting this energy crisis. But we also should anticipate the challenge from the climate change, because according to our experience, climate change can happen in 2 forms. When it becomes too hot, it will become El Nino. And in the late 2019, Indonesia suffered from forest fires because of that too hot conditions. And last year, as we can see, the too wet conditions will bring the La Nina or flooding, and especially this already suffered Malaysian productions, that their productions contracted due to flood. And for the 4th challenge, the COP26, Conference of the Parties 26, where Indonesia is one of the NDC, National Determined Contributors, which by the 2060, we are committed to become the net zero emitter. So it means that we will use more and more and utilize and optimally produce palm oil to achieve this goal. And for the 5th challenge, it's smallholder replanting program. In order to meet the need for the COP26 target and energy crisis and climate change and so on, of course, we should enhance our productions. It means that we should make the target of the smallholder replanting program on target, and we should promote this program so that the target is achieved. And the last is economic shock, because we also tend to shift and dynamics because of the tariff and non-tariff barrier according to the geopolitical conditions that already happening in the ground. So that's all from me. Thank you very much for the attention. I will give it back to you, Yash. Thank you very much.